Hello, Zach Perry here, the Fortune Firm. We're going to talk about money again and some of the professionals that give you advice about money. Today we are going to spotlight your financial planner / financial advisor. Learn a little bit about who they are, what questions we should not be asking them, which may be questions that we do ask them. Now, your financial planner is usually going to work for a broker, okay? In fact, maybe always. I think they have to work for a broker. Usually it's going to be a Vanguard or a Morgan Stanley or a Charles Schwab or a Fidelity. There are a bunch of larger brokers out there, Edward Jones. Sometimes there are smaller brokerage firms where they set up their own firm and they're more of a boutique thing. But the way this works is, first off, you have to get a license. That license requires that you get at least a C- on a 170 question test or something like that. And then you're licensed, right? That's the gist of it anyway. If you want to know all the specifics, there's a chapter in my book that will lay it out for you with citations. And so educational requirements for a financial planner. You may be surprised to learn, but go check this out for yourself. You can go to any one of those brokerage firms, go to their website, go to the careers tab or the apply with us or the jobs available, whatever it is, they're named differently on different sites. You go there and you look at what are the requirements, the job requirements, right? Just like any job, they're going to say, we are looking for enthusiastic self-starters, who, and then there's going to be an educational requirement. Okay, sometimes they don't list any requirements. Sometimes they'll say college preferred but not required. Sometimes they'll say at least high school graduate or equivalent. Okay, now when you think about that, that's kind of scary. The people that you are going to seek advice from on what to do with your money have no more educational requirements than the guy working at the fast food place. Okay? I mean, that's scary. So there's no degree in financial planning. You don't go get a master's degree in financial planning. You do not go get a doctorate in financial planning. You do not go get a bachelor's degree in financial planning. You go get your license in financial planning, which requires you study a little bit and you get a C- on this test. So that's red flag number one for me. Number two, you got to understand what the financial planner is doing. So typically the question we ask of a financial planner, when we're sitting down with a financial planner, the question we're asking is, hey, what's the best place for me to invest my money so that I can fill in the blank, generate wealth, retire well, maximize growth, whatever. But basically you want to put your money somewhere where it's going to grow. For whatever purpose you're going to use it, you want it to grow, right? And so the financial planner's job is this. They need to make sure that they gather information about you, about your income, about your goals, about your risk tolerance. Okay? Now they have to gather that because the recommendations they make to you have to meet a certain test. Now that test has changed. I'll give you a little bit of history about that test because for the longest time, that test was known as the suitability test, meaning they have to recommend financial products that suitably address your goals and risk tolerance. It has to be suitable. They have to suitably match your needs and desires with the product that they offer because different products are designed different ways, right? Some have higher risk with a higher growth potential and also higher chance of losing money. And some are more conservative, okay? And mostly it's mutual funds and they're just mixed up in a different way. Some have more bonds, more safe things in there so that they're more immune to market fluctuations, but they also, you are diversifying yourself out of higher returns, right? So if you want the slow and steady, you got one product. If you want, hey, I want to take a little bit more risk because I have more time for it to adjust, you got different products, right? Suitability standard. Now in 2016, the Department of Justice, they came and said, that's not good enough. We want to increase this to the fiduciary standard. We want to make sure that when financial advisors are making recommendations of products to people, they are only making recommendations that are in the best interest of the people, their clients, right? Now, the reason they did this is because there was this problem. Okay, there's something called undue influence. Now, what financial advisors were doing, and it didn't always rise to the level of undue influence, but that's because the suitability standard is a low standard. The financial advisors, they have a couple competing interests, right? It's actually a conflict of interest. And that is that product A pays commissions to the person recommending it at a certain rate, and product B pays commissions to a financial advisor at a certain rate. And if product A pays commissions, I get 16% commission, and product B, I get 25% commissions. Now I'm making this up, right? The commissions are lower than that, probably. So the financial advisor now has a built-in incentive to sell more of product B than of product A because they get paid more. So as long as both product A and product B meet the suitability standard, even though product A may be better for you, and probably is if it's paying the financial advisor less, the financial advisor may not even show you product A because your product B is still suitable, but it pays better. And so that financial advisor is probably selling a lot more of product B than of product A. In fact, the only product A they're probably selling is if product B just doesn't work and they're not going to buy it, and so then they offer product A hoping to salvage a sell, or if the consumer is savvy enough to know that product A exists and say, well, no, I actually like product A. But usually they're going to probably be selling product B, right? And so the Department of Justice says, no, we're going to create this fiduciary duty rule that says you have to put the client in, you have to make recommendations that's in the client's best interest. You have to disregard your interests entirely. Now, the financial advisor world fought that. They lobbied against it. They actually filed 3 different lawsuits trying to invalidate that rule. They lost in the first court, they lost in the second court, they won in the third court. Well, they only had to win once. And so that court wasn't saying that financial planners should not have to be held to the fiduciary standard. That court basically said, you overstepped your authority, Department of Justice. That is not how you can change the rule. If you want to change the rule, you got to go about doing it this way. And so we went back to the suitability standard. Now in response, some states created in their own legislatures the fiduciary duty rule, right? And then just in 2021, I think it was as recent as this year, the Department of Justice was able to get the fiduciary rule implemented so that financial advisors are held to that standard. But here's the big question I have for you. If the financial advisors were putting people in the products that was for their best interest, then why would they have cared that the rule changed? They wouldn't have. The only reason they would have cared to be held to a higher standard is if they were not already meeting that standard, okay? Now that's scary. Now that they're in the fiduciary rule, there's going to be, they're going to have to find different ways, not to be cynical, but there's going to, it's better for you obviously, but life always finds a way, right? So another thing I want to talk to you about financial advisors is this, okay? No matter what product they're offering you, it's limited because they can only offer you what they have, okay? So if you go to Edward Jones and you say, hey, what's the best place for me to put my money to generate wealth or to save for retirement or whatever, the only answer they are ever going to give you is an Edward Jones product. So they're probably going to show you a few Edward Jones mutual funds, and they're going to say, hey, this has beat the S&P in this many years, for this many years in a row, which, just to pull back the curtain on this, the average rate of return on the S&P since its inception in 1957 is 3.45%, okay? So to beat the S&P is not really that big of, I learned this term this year, but that's an odd flex. To beat the S&P is an odd flex because the S&P is the easiest of the big ones to beat, okay? You really want bragging rights. The NASDAQ has had a much better return since its inception in the 70s. But even the Dow Jones has a 5.3. So anyway, that's not a great brag for one thing. But another, they're only going to offer you their products. And are their products the best thing to put your money in? Are there mutual funds that can regularly outpace real estate investments? Are there mutual funds that have grown as fast as crypto has? What about private lending? There are all sorts of great investments out there with varied level of risk, but higher returns than the mutual funds that the financial advisors are offering, okay? So you're not necessarily, that's the wrong question. The wrong question, you do not ask the financial advisor, where's the best place to put my money? Because they have no idea of all the different places you can put their money. All they know is their products, okay? And then the last thing I want to say about financial advisors has to do with this idea that, by the way, what we do, we don't tell you where to put your money. We're not going to tell you, hey, invest in this. If you need help with that, we can put you in contact with professionals. Like if you love crypto, we got people you can talk to. If you like the idea of private lending, we got people you can talk to who can kind of walk you through that, but we're not going to tell you where to put your money. What we want to make sure is that no matter where you put your money, the growth is tax-free. Okay? So sometimes people, they'll talk to us and they'll go, oh, I want to go talk to my financial advisor. And then they'll go talk to their financial advisor, and the financial advisor go, oh, no, you don't want to do that. You want to put your money in one of my products, right? Because we beat the S&P and whatever else, right? Here's the thing. If you really like the product that your financial advisor is selling you, we're not telling you not to put your money there. We just want you to be aware that the money, that wherever you put your money, the growth should be tax-free, and there's a lot more places to put your money than what your financial advisor knows about. So if your financial advisor actually is telling you, don't go put your money in the vehicle the Fortune firm is recommending and then invest in my mutual funds, what they're telling you is you don't want tax-free growth. You just want to stick it in here for tax growth. And if your financial planner is legitimately telling you that, that's not the financial planner that you want. So hopefully this has kind of educated you as to what a financial planner really does, what knowledge they really have, what they don't have, what questions you should not be asking them. If you liked what you heard today, let me know. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, ring the bell. My name is Zach Perry. That's all I have for you today. May your fortune be with you always.